that's a fear, especially for female athletes, is being a mother and after you giving birth or whatnot, going back to your particular sport and being able to compete at the same level that you were prior to having your baby. And she is taking up the guard and making it happen. So I'm glad to see her rebound because there was some struggles when she first kind of got back, which is expected. But to see her like winning some matches and getting back on track is a phenomenal story. Mm-hmm.
And if she isn't in the top 10 of greatest athletes of all time, then I have an issue with that on my personal list and on other personal lists because what she's doing, when you talk about the process and those that follow college football and they always talking about Nick Saban and having to compete at your very best, Serena Williams has had to do that annually in every match for
Over.
approaching a decade.
Yeah.
A
It's
decade.
almost 2 decades now, probably getting close to about 20 some years.
It is. And so it's amazing. And just to hear her response to that and her awareness, it really just shows her brilliance. But it also, to me, it just shows how she's one of the most conscious athletes of our generation. You talk about HBO, you talk about them doing a docu-series on her. She's teamed up, and we're going to talk about this gentleman here in a second. But even though if you go to the Uninterrupted, she's teamed up with LeBron James's Digital, and she's done some interviews with Maverick Carter and those guys over there. But um, just to speak to her greatness, her brilliance, her consciousness, her level of awareness, to understand that every time she goes out and she competes, she's had to compete against the next athletes or her next opponents uh, best. They're playing at the up time at their all time high. That just and it just makes her better. It polishes up her skill set. She kind of mentioned that in her response, and I salute
Yeah.
Serena Williams. And I got a very interesting story, real quick. Back in '97, '98, when she was really just getting started, me and the group I was traveling with at the time met a young Venus and Serena Williams, not knowing they would grow up to be the people that they were, but we were getting on a flight over in London, and they were on our same flight. We didn't know who they were. We spoke to them. They were just some other black young people that were getting on the flight like us. They mentioned that they were going to play in Wimbledon. Didn't really ring a bell with us at the time, but you look back and you just realize that you had encountered greatness. You had encountered someone that was doing that would go on to do great things, and you can only appreciate that about who she is and her level of consciousness.
Transcendent athlete, of all time. It'll probably be several years before you probably see anything like this. And what she's done for the game of tennis, what she's done for African American black women in tennis and outside of tennis.
And you hear the Michael Jordan, you hear the Tiger Woods, you hear the LeBron James. We got to add Serena to that list.
Oh, for
We have
sure.
to add Serena to that transitional, transcending athlete that supersedes uh, their sport. And
Mm-hmm.
she has to now be a part of that conversation. She has to be on the Mount Rushmore of transcending athletes, and we have to appreciate what she's doing, but we also have to now, as journalists, as people in the media, start pushing that story and that narrative a little bit further because we're gonna look up and we're not gonna. And what I hope what doesn't
Mm-hmm. Doesn't.
happen
Mm-hmm.
is we lose this what she's been
The
able to accomplish and what she's done and the magnitude to which
magnitude.
she's done it. And so we really need to push that story further. We actually need to introduce her into that conversation around transcending athletes, the Michael Jordan, the Tiger Woods, and LeBron James. And I think when we look back over history, she's going to be one of the greats of
Greatest
all
for sure.
time.